BS.
It is I, lovable baby boy, Brank, back from the dead and ready to break some bread. We've been keeping you waiting, okay? We know the anticipation's been building and you just can't wait to hear our predictions. But when I say we, this isn't a solo show, Super BS, podcast about video games mostly. I'm always joined by nefarious no-gooder doer, never-do-weller. Who is this never-do-weller that never does good?
The never-do-weller, Jank, Josh, Jankerson, Jankston the third, fourth of his name, killer of dragons.
Keep him out of here. Please keep him out of here. Don't let him on.
What's up, man? What's good? What's good? Sorry, I'm like trying to make sure everything's working here. How you doing?
I'm living the dream. I can see that to our Twitch viewers. I finally came back. I was frozen in time and space for a bit. So when you were talking about your never-do-welling, I knew that was you never-do-welling on that.
Ooh, buddy.
Before we get deep into some of the hottest news you've ever heard, okay? I'm talking about sensual healing, different from the Marvin Gaye song and all terms and purposes. So we can use that. We can actually write a song called Sensual Healing, which is very different. And we can actually, that's now my song. And I own it. And it's actually the same sounding song. It just
let me just applaud you on using that. What was that, the Marvin Gaye song you used in the last episode, the Master Chief having sex episode?
I think I used...
Or Barry Manilow.
No, it was Marvin Gaye. We talked about Barry Manilow, but I think I used Let's Get It On.
Yeah, that was like you almost played the entire song. Like I commend you for that.
I mean, you know what they say, copyright doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So that's what they say. That's what everybody believes. So I appreciate your commendation on me using a classic track. My boy. Before we get to the gaming news, were you a Top Gun boy? Were you a Maverick?
I did not.
Around with Goose?
I did not see Top Gun. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I've heard it was good. But so we're not Top Gun boys. Did you watch yourself some Stranger Things?
I did. I got down in the upside down, and now I'm right side up. What'd you think? Was it?
I liked it a lot.
And Branky Boy liked it. Yeah.
Brinky Boy gives 2 thumbs up. Honestly, Stranger Things is one of the few shows that I think Netflix does well. And I really enjoyed the 4th season. I mean, is it as good as the first? No. I don't think they're ever going to have a season like the first season of Stranger Things ever again, just because that was just phenomenal and it was really good. And
it came out of nowhere too. Like no one really expected it to be what it was.
It also was just like it had that magic of like, I wouldn't say it's as good as, but Jurassic Park 1, where it's like it's thrillery and it's semi-scary and it's very fun and there's a lot you don't know. Yeah. And as they explain more and more, it becomes less and less cool and more cheesy. So I definitely have to say, like, I still love the show. I can't wait to finish it. I don't know if they're doing a season 5 or they're just going to finish up this season in July.
I know they're doing a second part to season 4. I thought that they were going to finish it off in 5 seasons.
That's what I thought too. My brother-in-law was saying that they ran out of funding. I really don't know if that's true though, because Netflix is like their golden child.
Yeah, and I don't know how they could run out of funding because like this is like you said, is the thing that keeps Netflix afloat. Are you
sure it's not Married at First Sight or
Married at
Blind?
First Sight? Is it cake? Yeah. No, I mean I enjoyed it. I think it's got a lot of intrigue to it that's not so mysterious anymore, because as we're getting closer to the ending, they're kind of like explaining like, oh, this is happening because of this. So like you said, it does get a little bit cheesy, but they do a good job of like keeping you hooked from one episode to the next, especially with how the first part of season 4 ended with Nancy. No spoilers here, but like they didn't really show that all the characters got away safely.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to it. I'm very excited to finish it off, but yeah, Netflix, you bringing about Is It Cake, just is the perfect example of Netflix throwing money at different things. Obviously, small amounts of money to make shows like Is It Cake or The Floor Is Lava or whatever else trash they release now every day.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny to see them fall so far from like the original Stranger Things or Beast of No Nation or Narcos, the first couple seasons. Like it really went from like premiere TV to like, hey, this is like not Hallmark Channel levels, but we're not far off, like what's the lowest common denominator we can push out for $50?
Right. And they still like have good programming on there, but it's just so sparse, compared to some of like the trash they put on there. But people still watch the trash. So I guess, we can't really say that Netflix isn't doing something right.
Before we get to gaming, though, I do want to bring up that Netflix has reminded me now of the Wii. It is the shovelware platform of choice, where there is going to be an M&M go-kart racing every day that releases for every, Twilight Princess or Mario Galaxy. There's going to be, M&M go-kart racing and carnival games.
I want at least a one Burger King centric television show. All right, like a sequel
I think you'll get that.
To Sneak King or Pocket Bike Racers. Do you remember those games that Burger King released?
Yeah, those were incredible. They were 10 out of 10s. Everybody knows that. The best thing was they were like $5 at a time when games were not cheap.
Hey,
ever.
you go
It was
on
like
eBay.
crazy.
You go on eBay right now, and they're selling for. I think I was looking at one was selling for like $50.
Well, you need to buy all of them, man. You need to buy them for the $150. Yeah, it is funny though. Netflix has definitely lost all of its premier titleage and just because of their trash. Speaking of one other piece of trash that also released, did you watch Obi-Wan? I heard it was
I did.
Not good.
Did. Yeah, it's I don't know. It was something. It was Star Wars, and it was there were lightsabers. It was.
Do you think Disney, when they buy things, they just demand to put it in a trash filter on it, and then they dump it out on top of you?
That's the only explanation. But think about this. So Disney, like when George Lucas was in charge of Star Wars, he wasn't trying to sell toys and merchandise. Disney, everything they do is designed to sell toys, merchandise, push some kind of social agenda. Not that that's bad, I do like I love the diversity in Star Wars, but there's always something like at play here.
But you don't need the diversity when it comes to alien races anymore. Just humans.
I guess.
Just human diversity.
I guess so. But they have. I don't know. Like it would. So I'm sorry. Did you say you watched it or you didn't watch it?
I didn't watch it, but I did hear about the Three Stooges like sketch that was not meant to be a joke, where the young woman was being chased around by three inept guards, and I heard how bad it was.
Oh,
it was like in the first or second episode.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's in like they have Obi-Wan kind of like floundering around, like, oh, I forgot how to use the Force. I'm just gonna keep running away, and like I don't know.
Oh no, it's one of those stories where they forget how to do stuff after they did stuff.
Yeah, and he's like, I hate everybody, and I'm just gonna close myself off to the Force. Like I don't know, it's dumb, but I don't know. At this point, I'm 3 episodes committed to this 8-episode season, so I might as well finish the rest of it.
I thought it was 6.
Is it
I'm
6?
almost positive it's 6 episodes, so you don't have much more torture.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it. Yeah, it's 6 episodes. I don't think it needed to be 1 episode, but that's my opinion on all Disney Star Wars products.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just so much Star Wars now, and there's so many things I don't care about. Like I don't want to watch an Andor series. Like Mandalorian was okay for a while. I don't really care to watch Boba Fett that much. Ahsoka could be cool. I don't know. Like if they want to get people back into Star Wars, they need to like do something new. Like go to a different era. Like create a new story.
They also need to make it exciting again, and you can't do that when you're releasing 5 new shows every month. It sounds like, obviously that's an exaggeration, but they're releasing like 4 shows a year. I personally think the only good Star Wars thing Disney has done was Rogue One. But and that is still a fairly cheesy Hollywood action blockbuster film, but it had all the fun pulls that I liked.
Yeah. Donnie Yen, dude, I love that guy.
Yeah. No, it honestly is one of my favorite Star Wars things, probably period, after the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But I would definitely go like, original trilogy, Rogue One, prequel trilogy, and then, You'd have a long, James Cameron-like depth before you get there. But anyways, This is Super BS, a podcast about video games mostly. So we're not going to be talking about Star Wars.
Hold on.
Xenomorph.
Before we stop talking about Star Wars, I don't know if anyone listened to the last classic episode that was posted.
No, what was it about?
Well, you guys, it was you and Dr. Don and Dave, and you guys were making fun of me because I wasn't there. You made fun of me because I always annoyed you when you're trying to talk about your game choices.
I mean, that's true. That's exactly what you do.
I did. But anyways, you guys went on to talk about Star Wars, and then you guys are saying something about Rian Johnson is going to be a good director, and he's going to take Star Wars in a direction that Colin Trevorrow probably couldn't do. And then
this was pre The Last Jedi.
Yeah, it was. And then boom, eat it.
That aged really well.
Yeah.
Man, you should have actually cut that clip and sent it to everybody that you know. Dude, you should have put that in a group thread with us. That one clip. I need to find it.
Yes.
Well, my bro, I did it. I beat Elden Ring. I didn't just beat Elden Ring once, though. I built Elden Ring all 3 times and got the platinum.
Wait, what do you mean all 3 times?
So to get the platinum trophy, you need to get 3 different... There's 8 endings in Elden Ring. I think it's 8. So, but 4 or 5 of them are all the same. You just have to get a different thing. 2 are very unique. So there's 3 different ending trophies. So you can either cheese the game by saving a cloud version and then uploading, then beating, and then coming back, because the game autosaves. You don't get to choose your save files. Or you could do what I did, which is I beat it 3 times and got all 3 endings. And it was really, really fun and incredible. And New Game Plus 1 and Plus 2 combined, those 2 runs, because I was super overpowered, only took about 10 hours combined to do the 2 of them.
Oh, dang.
So my total clock time was 98 hours, almost 100 hours for the game.
So was it worth it?
Dude. Yeah. I mean, I am playing it again on Xbox. Just to give you an example of where I'm at, as soon as I was done, I didn't know what to turn on and nothing sounded super fun. Yeah. So I turned it on again and I played it again today, man. I beat it last week and I'm playing again now on Xbox.
So are you going to play it all the way through on Xbox, or are you going to go take it in stride?
If something else comes out that's really good, I'll check that stuff out. But honestly, the other stuff I picked up, I turned on Horizon Forbidden West after finishing Elden Ring. I could not care less about that game, man. I'm trying to get back into it to finish it, but I don't know if it's I don't enjoy the movement, or because I don't think the movement's bad, but I don't know if it's I don't enjoy the movement or I don't really enjoy the combat. I think it's okay.
It still feels clunky. Most aspects of that game still feel very clunky and time wasting. It
also isn't fun to fight a lot of the dinosaurs. Maybe there's something where they want you to set up all the traps and all that stuff. But good example would be I'm trying to run from one objective to the next, and there was a pack of 3 dinosaurs. I can't remember which ones, the ones that look like bowls or whatever. And I shot them, and then they killed me, even though I was bouncing around and using all my arrows. I'm just saying though, I'm not super underpowered. The game just never feels really good or it. I think maybe they want you to be really tactical, but it's also not fun to just kill the dinosaurs for the sake of killing the dinosaur. I don't enjoy it.
A lot of outside that first area, a lot of the enemies will get stronger as you get stronger, so that's kind of annoying too.
Yeah, there's no power curve. I will say, even in Elden Ring, even though there's challenging bosses, you definitely feel incredibly powerful by the end of it. When I was running through my New Game Plus and my New Game Plus 2, I was just sweeping every boss. I didn't die, I think, on any bosses on my New Game Plus 2, besides the last one.
Right.
So I tried Horizon. I'm really struggling. I'll probably finish it every game at some point. I'll come back and I'll be hey, I'm done with Horizon. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I don't really have the heart to go back to Tales of Arise. Not that I don't enjoy that game. We've talked about how much we love it here. I just don't really have a drive right now to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's nothing really else. Stranger of Paradise, I guess. But again, it's like the poor man's Elden Ring in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different game, but it's just not as good.
Yeah.
The one thing I delved into before I find out what you've been playing, and I thought this was kind of neat that I fell onto this because I have the Steam Deck, is the Warhammer Chaos Space Marine game from the Xbox 360 era. Do you remember that game?
No. Didn't it? Was that the one that they showed at the the Series X No, not sorry. That's 360.
No, that's
yeah. No.
yeah.
What? Tell me about this game.
It's the Gears of War Warhammer game where you're like you have like a chainsaw thing, which is actually from Warhammer, and you have like a jetpack, and you can like kind of fly around, but it's very Gears of War. The only thing you don't have is cover. But it was fun. I got it for like I think like $10, and I turned on my Steam Deck, and it runs flawlessly. And it's a blast, man. It's really fun. So I've been like kind of dinking around on that because it's really good. Like we started watching Ozark, so it's a really good like watch Ozark and play because Ozark is a lot like Breaking Bad, a lot of those other shows where there's a lot of downtime between stuff happening.
Yeah.
So it's a trash can, not somebody breaking into my house right now as we record.
It's Reggie. Reggie's in the walls, man.
He's trying to get in, man. He's never going to stop.
All right, question for you. How do you play games and watch TV at the same time? Like, I could never do that.
Oh, really? I feel like it depends on the show, obviously. If the show quality is great, I won't do that. But for shows like Ozark, which, people have said it's like it's the best show ever. I turned it on. It's good. We're enjoying our time with it, but it's not like Succession to me or Barry or any of these shows or Stranger Things or I forgot the show we were watching. After Succession, we watched another show recently that we just totally every night I was super excited to watch it. It's not like that. It's interesting. I want to see where it's going, but I also don't feel like every scene has a lot to add. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for shows like that, that's great. It's perfect. You've never played handheld games while watching TV?
No, I can't. Like I can't anytime. Really? I can't even text while watching TV. Like I'll have to pause what I'm watching. Or I will have to like go into another room because I can't focus on both things at once.
And there's never been a show that you've been like, I don't actually really need to focus on this. I can just like kind of watch. No, because
I have story OCD. We've talked about this before. Like playing games like Assassin's Creed drives me nuts because I have to do everything. I can't. It's the same thing with watching TV. Like I can't not hear even the most like minute things that characters are saying. I can't stop. I can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I love to hear that. What do you can't stop, won't stop playing then if you're not playing stuff while you're watching TV?
All right, so let me update you on the saga of Master Chief and the Halo television show.
Oh, first. Did you finish that show? Is it over?
I did. It's it's not over. They renewed it for a second season without even like knowing how successful the first season would be.
Did he go to Bonersville any more times, or was it just the first?
He didn't go to Bonersville any more times. The love of his life went to Bulletsville, so she died. The show ends. The season finale happens, and Master Chief is like, "Oh, my love betrayed me. I'm gonna." And then the Covenant lady girl, the human lady, goes to the Prophet's planet, which isn't even in the Halo video games. And so the Spartans go to take back the artifact. And there's like 100 elites charging up at them. There's a big battle scene. The Spartans get rocked. Cortana takes over Master Chief and just takes care of everybody. They escape. They get the artifacts. The Covenant human girl dies. The Prophets get away. It's a mess. But apparently there's going to be another season, so you can watch the rest of it if you feel like.
No spoiler warning, but there's the end of all the Halo seasons.
Yeah.
And everything. That's the end of all Halo.
That's the end of all Halo. I mean, it could very well be the end of Halo because it's not that great.
Yeah,
okay. What
are you going to watch season 2 then?
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm committed at this point. Like, I have to see what happens.
You're not.
They just found the coordinates to the Halos, so I at least have to see how that turns out.
I used to feel that way with a little show called Orange is the New Black, and finally at one point I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore, and I stopped watching it, and it was the best feeling on earth. I now never have to watch Orange is the New Black anymore. So you could do that with Halo, okay? If it's not good, I mean, just save yourself for the games, which even if they're not great story-wise, are still infinitely better than what you just said. And yes, that's a jet landing on my street because we got a private jet here.
It sounds like you're like welding machine parts.
I've been doing a little bit of machine welding this morning while we're podcasting, but not too much, just because I want to keep, focus on the podcast, not just the machine welding. You gotta love trash day, right? Which is now 5 days a week.
Apparently. Okay, so moving on.
What have you been playing though?
It's been a while since we've had a chat. It's been a couple weeks. So dove back into Oxenfree. Well, I was on I'm close. I gotta say though, that game is actually kind of creepy. Like it's.
Yeah, I mean that's supposed to be creepy. Isn't it only like 4 hours?
Yeah. So I have to rescue one last friend.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just gives me very creepy vibes. Like I don't know if it's the music or just the way that the characters are freaking out and reacting to some of the things going on, but it's a very good game. Like for such a small concept, it's a very well put together game.
What are you playing it on?
I'm playing it on the Switch.
Okay. Yeah, I picked it up there for like $2 years ago. Are you going to get Oxenfree 2?
Yeah, I'd like to. I want to finish this one because this is because I was gone, I was on a trip, so I was sitting in these hotel rooms and stuff at night, and I turn on Oxenfree, turn the volume up, play it. It's
turn the volume down.
Turn the volume down. No, and there's something about being out in the middle of nowhere and playing this game too that makes it that much scarier, I guess. I don't know. I remember, our buddy Stanky Banky talking about this back in the day. He didn't really go in a lot of detail about it, but he said he really liked it, and I am also very much enjoying this game.
It's cool. Those games are always hard for me to get into, the adventure story style games where there's really nothing there besides story. There's not a lot of gameplay, if you want to call it that. It's really all story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been playing anything else?
Yeah, so I did play. I finished all the post-game content in Tales of Arise. I gotta say, man, I really, really enjoyed that game.
It's a great game. When I was saying I don't want to come back to it, it's not that I don't. I just if you ever get into Elden Ring the way I did, it's hard to go to other games. But Tales of Arise is incredible. I don't mean to diminish it.
No, I know, but that's how I feel about Tales of Arise right now. Because I want to go back. I want to play Stranger of Paradise. I keep saying all right, I got to put that in the PlayStation and play that next. But I just couldn't bring myself to take out Tales of Arise, so I just played all the post game content. And
that's why you got to buy the games digitally. Then you don't have to take them out ever.
Right. So my characters reach level 97. So I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm about level 100. But that's
finish it, man. Is it 99 or 100? What's the cap?
99 is the level cap. So I've kind of mined the game for everything it's worth, and there's not anything left to play. So now I'd like to go back and play Stranger of Paradise. I did play one more game though, and we talked about this a little bit. I went back and I got a PS4 in our room, and I've been playing that at night. I turned on Uncharted because my wife wanted to see what the game was like compared to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, man, it doesn't hold up too well. A lot of people say Uncharted 2 is one of the greatest PS3 era games ever made, and it could be. I haven't gotten there yet, but Uncharted 1 just doesn't really hold up too well. The controls are janky. I hate that the camera will lock you into certain places, like when you're climbing or when things are falling or you have to jump over things. The camera locks you in, so you can't move it around to kind of see more of what you're doing. So it results in you falling to your death over and over and over. And the worst part about the game is it is so repetitive. The later Uncharted 4 is a great game because it balances the puzzles with the gunfighting really well. But Uncharted 1, it's all oh, hey, you're in this new area. Let's gunfight against 15 to 20 dudes, and then we'll let you move on to another area where you have to gunfight 15 to 20 dudes instead of that whole exploration and puzzle solving aspect that they kind of moved on to in Uncharted 4.
Yeah, I disagree with you that Uncharted 4 is good, but I agree with you that the Uncharted series is interesting. That being said, I don't think any of them hold up well. Do you think you're going to finish? You said you're playing the first one right now.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to finish 1, 2, 3, any of them with her or no?
I'll finish the first one. I don't know.
It's pretty short. I know it's 6 hours.
Yeah, it's a pretty short game. I don't know, where I'll go after that. I kind of want Yeah, and this is like me begging for punishment, but I kind of want to go back to the Kingdom Hearts series and play a little bit of
you're
those.
making a whole bunch of bad decisions this year. It sounds
I know, but I mean, this is just like me. I don't have the PS5 isn't in our room, so I've just kind of like I have some time late at night to play games.
Yeah, that's the police coming to get you for talking about playing Kingdom Hearts. We found a guy. He's thinking about playing Kingdom Hearts again.
Okay, and here's the thing too.
Suspicious.
Like you and Dr. Donna have kind of renewed me wanting to play this because you said Kingdom Hearts 2 in a classic episode is a lot easier than Kingdom Hearts 1, which I absolutely hated. I hated Kingdom Hearts 1. Like that game alone made me never want to go back to that series again. But now I'm like, all right, maybe I'll go check it out.
Well, it sounds like you'll love Kingdom Hearts 2 then, because it's not. No, I'm just joking. It's very similar to 1. It is a lot easier though. That series has its moments. I am glad that we're in a backlog season, but we're about to start talking about new games. Before we get to these new games, the ones that you are all begging to hear about, have you played anything in the recency? Did you finish Gran Turismo?
No, I didn't. Gran Turismo is a game I'm going to keep going back to. I played a little bit more of it, got to a place my one irritation with Gran Turismo is that you have to be online. Like everything is online, and my internet out here cuts in and out. So every time that happens, I can't play the game.
Well, you got to get better internet. That's not Gran Turismo's fault, okay? You bought a single-player game. They want you to play online. You knew the risk. You decided to do it. Okay, my bro, we got to give these people the new games they want to hear about because they're sick of our boring, dusty old Elden Rings and Oxenfrees and Kingdom Hearts from 1 year ago or whatever. We're going to start talking about the recent Sony State of Play that just went on last week.
Can we take I need a minute break. I got to go check on baby real quick. She's rolling over. Give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Let's take a quick break. Hold on.
Super BS.
What happened is while you were checking on that other baby, you forgot to check on baby boy Brank, okay, who really needed to talk to you about the Sony State of Play. Have you ever heard of it?
I did. It was actually it was pretty good.
Yeah. Before we get into the games, you dug it, right?
I did. And not being sarcastic, I did actually think it was a good show.
I think it was a great show, but we'll talk about it more after we go over the individual games, because there's some stuff I want to bring up that I still think it's an awesome show, but they knocked it out of the park. Originally, they started off with Resident Evil 4 Remake, a game we all knew was coming out. We didn't really know when. Everything's kind of been pushed back, but they've dated it for March 23rd, 2023. I thought that was actually going to be the Last of Us remake, the rumored remake for that, because of the way they did the guitar at the beginning. I did not expect Resident Evil 4.
So Resident Evil 4, though, was that weird place in Resident Evil history where it went from being a horror survival game to more of an action survival game, right?
Yeah, I still think that was the best change. That's what Resident Evil 2 Remake is now, and Resident Evil 3 Remake. They've all moved towards that.
On that note, though, I finished the Resident Evil 2 remake, but is Resident Evil 3 worth me playing? I've never played that one.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it really depends on how much you enjoyed Resident Evil 2 remake and if you can get it on sale, because it's not as good as 2, but it's still a lot of fun.
Well, I've seen it for $12, so I mean that's why I was asking if it was worth it.
I would say I totally think that's worth it. I paid I think $30 and I had a blast. It's like 6 or 7 hours long. Yeah. It's not very long, but it's a ton of fun. It's not as good as 2, but it's still that super slick, really nice looking, fun action survival game. Anyways, Resident Evil 4 Remake looks incredible. It's not coming until March 23rd of 2023. Looks great. It is also coming to Xbox and PC, though, as far as I know. It's not going to be exclusive to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Then they did a bunch of VR stuff, which I will say I am very interested in PSVR 2, but it really depends on, they haven't announced if it's backwards compatible or any of those things. And the stuff they announced for this showcase was like Resident Evil Village, which, if I own a PSVR 2, that would be kind of fun to dink around in the mansion.
Probably my gosh, that would be terrifying. Yeah.
So I'd be interested in that. They did a Walking Dead sequel, which I've heard that Walking Dead VR game's really good. They have a No Man's Sky VR thing. And then probably the biggest VR thing that they talked about was their Horizon Call of the Mountain, which I don't think it looked very good, but I feel like VR is very hard to show. So maybe it will be a lot of fun, but it just didn't excite me. What did you think of it?
I think it looks really cool. Like, I don't know. I was curious if that was going to be, because they started out the demo where you're on a boat, and I couldn't tell if that was going to be like a rail type thing, or if that was going to be like something where you're able to truly get up and explore. And it looks like you're able to get up and explore. I don't
think you're going to be able to explore that much. I do think they'll let you like paddle the boat, but I could be wrong.
It showed having these combat areas though, where you had different things coming after you, and can swing. You can swing a weapon, your bow at them, or you can shoot the bow at them.
That's kind of VR for you in a nutshell. Is normally they'll have like individual areas where you can do stuff, but I would expect more like Pokemon Snap and less like open world stuff. I could be wrong, like, because the thing is, traversal in VR is so nauseating for most people.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be open world, but I think they're going to have some areas where you can like walk around. Looking at how Elder Scrolls did it, but also like Elder Scrolls was deeply flawed because they were a little too ambitious with that one.
Yeah, I think it's got something there, but it's not like the best looking thing in my opinion. Like, I would have rather seen Half-Life Alyx. That would have been an immediate like seller for me, because that's the one that I want to play that I can't because you have to have a high-end PC. Speaking of PC, the rumor is that Sony's going to bring Returnal to PC pretty soon. The announcement was Spider-Man, the game that a lot of people didn't think they were going to bring. It's coming to Spider-Man Remastered, as well as Miles Morales is coming to PC this fall. And Spider-Man Remastered is coming out August 12th. So for PC people or for Steam Deck owners, that's kind of neat. You know what I mean? Like the idea that you could play God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, all these games that used to be exclusive, you can just play them on PC if you don't want to play them on PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean, do you think a game like Spider-Man that has released on 2 different consoles and has been out for a while, though, do you think people will still care to play that on PC?
Of course, because the 2 consoles you mentioned were PS4 and PS5. So if you aren't in the PlayStation ecosystem, there's no other way to play it. So this just opened the door for another whole group. If you would have said if it released on like Xbox and PlayStation, I still would have said yes. But the thing is, like, this is way bigger of a market. It's not just PlayStation that's on anymore.
Right.
There was some smaller stuff we'll go over real quick. Tunic, which I thought was kind of bizarre that they did a showcase showing that was coming to PlayStation, because it's been out on Game Pass since March.
It
still is on Game Pass.
Though, so I mean, Sony players couldn't get their hands on it yet.
Yeah, I just feel like that's a blog post and not something in a presentation like this, especially because it's not coming out today. It's coming out September 27th. For me, it's almost like an advertisement for Game Pass, because you could get it for PC or Xbox today for like whatever, $10 a month.
Right.
But for for PlayStation fans, I'm excited that it's coming there. I'm excited that it will probably come to Switch too. I think games like more places gives you more opportunity to play wherever you want. Yeah. Awesome. The Season game looked really interesting. It's a game I probably won't enjoy, but the one where you're biking around delivering letters, I thought that game looked pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, it looked interesting. It looks like it's one of those games that you can kind of like sit down and relax while playing. It's got a neat soundtrack, very calming, soothing.
Yeah, it's a game I don't know if I'll actually ever get into, but it's so beautiful. I almost want to give it a shot. Like, we'll see what comes out at the same time, knowing its luck, it will be out at the same time as like an Elden Ring, like Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever. But supposedly it's coming out this fall. So we'll see if that happens. I'd like to try it out.
Yeah, the issue, and also they said it's going to be available like day one, right, with PlayStation?
No, that's the next one we're about to bring up. Stray, the cat game.
Yeah. Because I mean, and back to the other one, like I know too, like the issue with indie games, especially on Sony's, in the Sony ecosystems, that I often forget that they came out because they just don't like advertise them very well.
Well, yeah, it's the same as Xbox. If it's not a AAA and it's not in Game Pass, you just don't know, But this one they did some promotion for. The thing that's funny is, and I don't know, maybe they'll do better about this when it's releasing, but I noticed Nintendo does this a lot, where they'll do like an indie direct or whatever, and they'll talk about that one day, and then those games will quietly release. Yeah. And nobody will know they came out. Like a game that they talked about called Card Shark like a year ago, that's out now. Like, you just play it. But I feel like there was no like pomp or anything for it. It was like, hey, we talked about these showcase like it's going to be really cool. And then when it released, it was like, hey, we're not going to say anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's just coming out.
It's the same thing with that like fishing simulator. Was it Moonglow Bay or something? Or do you remember
that came out, right?
Yeah, it's out. And I remember I wanted to play it, and then I had no idea like that it had come out.
The thing that Moonglow Bay has going for it, though, is it's a Game Pass game.
Yeah.
So unlike any of these, you can just jump on there and see if it's out, and you can play it. You know, that's the hard thing for like Nintendo and PlayStation is you're asking people to also pay money for something that they forgot existed.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, it's tricky. Anyways, about the game that you're talking about coming to PlayStation Plus. I don't know if it's PlayStation Plus Essentials, which is the normal PlayStation Plus, or it's the 2 higher tiered. Because I feel like I heard them mention in the show that it's not Essentials. It's the 2 higher tiered PlayStation membership programs. But it's Stray, the cat game. It's coming July 19th.
What do you think of that?
Which I mean, if it's coming to the PlayStation Plus, I'm down to try it. I didn't think it looked incredible or anything. I do think it could be fun, but I think it's going to be pretty much a walking sim, like a lot of the indie style stuff they showed.
Exactly what it looks like, and because they showed enemy types in that, but they didn't really show They didn't really show any combat. Like, can you fight those enemy types, or are you just kind of like running away from them?
I think you're running away. Every single video is showing you run. I have no problem with that. Those aren't the games I normally gravitate towards, so I don't see myself actually getting into it. But again, like I said, if it's coming to normal PlayStation Plus, I'd be excited. The interesting thing is, if it comes to those 2 higher tiers, does that mean they're trying to compete with Game Pass, but only on like an indie level? Because like, you know, Game Pass does that for a lot of bigger games too. But this seems like it might just be indie stuff.
And here's the thing though, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, like the indies that come out on Switch, like there's a lot more of them, and it's a lot cheaper to just play them on the Switch. You know, you just buy them for like $3 or $4 most of the time.
Well, I mean, not these bigger indies, but I know what you mean. There's smaller indies that come out. But no, I was just talking about the PlayStation Plus membership, what their game plan is, you know, to stick out. So that's not out here yet in the US. We're going to find out about that pretty soon. But anyways, let's keep going, because we want to do a couple things, and there's a lot more to talk about, and this is going to be airing right before the Bethesda showcase, so we got a lot to talk about. They then had one last indie-ish title called Roller Drome from the people who do Ollie Ollie. They just released Ollie Ollie World. It looked beautiful, like it looked cool. I don't know if it's going to be good. It was the roller skating shooting game.
Oh yeah, I'm not too interested in that. Like it could be good. It might be might be worth playing to some people. I think fans of like, what was that dodgeball game that came out? I think people who like
Knockout City?
Knockout City will probably enjoy it, but to me it doesn't look like something that's really my bag of chips, I guess.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. I think it's beautiful. I actually thought it was Sable. Do you remember that indie game that came out last year on Game Pass?
For sure, yeah.
Because they use that exact, I forgot that artist. I don't think it's Geiger, but it's one of these really well-known artists. They use his exact style to make that for the artwork for the game, and it's beautiful. I love the aesthetics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really played a good skating shooting game, like a mashup. If this is it, great. That could be really fun. But we'll see. We got one small one left, and then we got 3 that I'm sure we'll want to spend some time with. Eternites is the small one. It looks like a weird like romance, action adventure, visual novel hybrid.
Oh,
you remember this one?
Yeah. That was the one where they're like, "Hey, we're mixing dating simulators with action adventure games," and they had the. It looked interesting. I mean, I was
combat didn't look bad. Combat, and they have a motorcycle scene. That looked kind of cool.
Yeah, I was intrigued by it, and it's something that I'll definitely like keep my eyes on as it gets closer to releasing. But it wasn't a standout for me.
Yeah, I think the problem with games like that is it is going to be a standout for a lot of like really otaku, I think they call themselves, like the really weeby Japanese nerd kids. And so because of that, it's going to be at $60 and or 70 even, and it's going to stay there for a long time. So I'm probably never going to play it because this isn't the game for me, and it's also popular enough it will never go down in price.
Okay, so on that note, do you think that that's the reason that JRPGs have such a difficult time in the American market? Because you're right, they do come out at a $50, $60, $70 price range, and they never drop. They never come back down. I mean, I've never seen a JRPG outside of Scarlet Nexus, which has been on sale for like $30, drop down to like the $20 or less range.
I mean, it does happen. It just takes a long time. And then like for stuff like this, they probably won't put it on sale for like 9 months or whatever. They might do like a small $10 sale, but for 9 months. And for someone like me, this isn't Persona. This isn't like the big JRPG that I know I'll like. This is a very visual novel romance game, which is not the type of JRPG I normally play. So while I thought visually it was really cool, there's not enough going on that I'm actually really excited to play it. So even at $30, it's going to be a pass. It's kind of like those Atelier games, the one you played.
That's what I was about to
this year.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, I always was interested in those games when they released, but they didn't drop in price for a long time. So I never ended up picking them up. And by the time they drop in price, I don't have the same interest. You know what I mean? The FOMO is gone and other things have come out and I don't need to play them anymore.
Yeah. I've seen Atelier Ryza 2 on sale on Switch for like $40, but by that time, it was like 3 or 4 months after it'd come out, and there's other things to play. So I think that people who originally want to play those games, they just it's not worth it by the time they're able to actually pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big problem. But again, we're spending a lot of time on just talking about why we might not play Eternites, but I'm sure there's a group of people that was their game of the show. Like, it looked neat, and I'm sure there's like people like, that is what I want. The same 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim people, this is their game. Speaking of a game that you and I are probably more interested in than a lot of other people, the Callisto Protocol. I think that game looks really good.
It does look really cool. I love it. It has, even just watching the trailer, like it has Dead Space vibes to it, like that same feeling that you get as you playing Isaac walking through the space station. I was getting while watching this trailer, and I am stoked to play this.
So it's supposed to come out this year. I don't believe it, but it's supposed to come out this year, and it's got Josh Duhamel. I believe he's the main actor.
Oh, awesome.
In it. So yeah, it looks really great. The funny thing is, if it actually comes out in December and Dead Space Remake keeps its launch window of like early next year, maybe even January.
Yeah.
Dude, how funny would that be? 1 month apart, you get 2 essentially Dead Space games when you haven't had one for, 6 years now? I don't know when Dead Space 3 came out. Probably even longer.
Dormant property for so long. But yeah, I don't know, man, because I know...
9 years.
Yeah, they had interviewed the creator of Dead Space, asked him like how it feels to not be part of the Dead Space remake, and I think that Callisto Protocol actually looks cooler than the Dead Space remake, though I do want to play both. But yeah,
I'll play both, but there is the worry of oversaturation if they release them both within a month. I don't think they will. I think one of these games is going to be pushed, if not both. I just hope they don't release. They need like a 2-month break between them, I think, just to give a little bit of excitement. Yeah. Dude, Callisto Protocol is such a fascinating game. That was the one, if you remember, they announced was supposed to be in the PUBG universe.
Yeah.
But then they changed their mind, like, hey, it's so far in the future, it doesn't matter. And then I think they recently said, nah, it's not in the PUBG universe anymore. So it's like such a silly thing because, PUBG's died out pretty much. It's not like totally empty, but like people don't care about it as much. So it's just so funny that that's the arc of this game was that, and then it's not. Yeah. And then, they had that teaser a year or two ago, and now it seems like it's fairly far along. Like the idea that it may even launch this year is really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there are going to be a lot of people that flock to this game because there is, we might not notice it because it kind of gets drowned out a lot, but there are a lot of people who are still interested in these survival horror games and do eat this stuff up.
I mean, I love them. I mean, we talked about Resident Evil 4 Remake at the beginning of the show, but yeah, these games are things that I've grown to absolutely love.
Yeah.
Another game that you and I talked about a lot off air, but I think we both think is now something we're interested in is Street Fighter 6.
Oh, for sure. About it. Yeah, it's I actually thought that this was like one of those like another Capcom fighting game that happened to have Street Fighter characters leaking into it because you originally the trailer shows you as like just this nobody, like this nobody who exists currently in the Street Fighter world, and you're kind of walking around this you kind of get to walk around an open world a little. I wouldn't say it's like necessarily an open world thing, but you're able to explore certain places and go to where different fights are, kind of like Forza Horizon has the ability to go drive from one race to the next. And then they started they showed Chun-Li and was it Ryu?
Yeah.
And and then they're like Street Fighter 6. So that was surprising to me. So this could actually be the Street Fighter game that gets me back into Street Fighter, because I love the idea of being able to like explore a little bit and go and talk to characters and interact with people in a big city while going to different fights. Like that sounds like a really cool concept to me.
Yeah, I think if they actually nail, or if they actually go for it, the thing I'm worried with the online or the exploration is that it's only going to be tied to online multiplayer. Which, if that's the case, then count me out. I have no interest again.
I agree.
A lot of other games have that, like a virtual hub for their online multiplayer only.
It was like Splatoon.
Yeah, well, I mean, Splatoon had a hub for everything, and then you'd go to the different matches. But no, there's the Dragon Ball fighting games. All those have like little virtual lobbies, they call them, where you go before matches. But if there's actually stuff to do in the city and you're going around to get to fights, dude, I'm totally excited for that.
Oh,
like,
for
I
sure,
loved
yeah.
the Mortal Kombat 11 game, and that had no interactivity besides fighting. You just kind of like, watched cutscenes and then you fought. And they had like a side mode we discussed called Crypt or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And you would go and run around and then get into fights. And that was kind of neat, but it was a lot less interesting. There weren't like characters you would see and then you'd go fight them. They'd be like, you'd click a button on like some statue and be like, fight this thing to get this. And so it was less interactive. Whereas I think this it could be cool as long as it's just not online multiplayer only. If that's it, then I'm not going to buy it again, because I just don't care.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. But like, just think about like how a game like this could change the landscape of fighting games. Like, if it is what we think it is, like it could honestly, it could kickstart something that is the fighting genre desperately needs.
And speaking of that, it's on Kickstarter now. Just joking. Yeah, that's a game that's also coming to Xbox. We didn't talk. We'll bring up that kind of all that stuff at the end. But just to throw that out there, Street Fighter V was exclusive to PlayStation, so this one is coming back into the fold. Speaking of the opposite, a series that has not been exclusive to Sony for a long time, but is now only coming to PlayStation 5 and PC, summer 2023. The big daddy in the show, Final Fantasy 16. Tell us about it. What do you think about that trailer?
So I have always thought, I mean, and I know you have other complaints. I'm going to let you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'm sure we'll get to my complaints.
I don't know. I think it looks like a version of Final Fantasy that we haven't seen. It's very dark. It's a very gloomy looking game, but the combat looks really smooth. Like it kind of was giving me, and I know I say this about a lot of things, but Devil May Cry vibes. You have the...
speaking of that, one of the creators for combat in the game is from the Devil May Cry series.
So that would make sense. But yeah, I don't know. Like it seems like it has a very cool story. It's bloody. It's gruesome. This looks like it's going to be one of those rated M, kind of like Stranger of Paradise style Final Fantasies. I don't really know enough about the story at this point to say like, oh, hey, this is going to be, the story is going to be amazing. But so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. It definitely looks like a big jump from where Final Fantasy 15 was, though. Kind of like the campy friend style feel good game to something very, like I said, it's very dark.
Yeah, they're definitely going for like Game of Thrones, and you can see it in all of the trailer. I will say there were moments in that trailer that I was like, so hyped. The end where they do like the big choir and they're singing about the different summons, and you kind of see the human version of the summons throughout the trailer. That was really, really neat. The idea that your main character seems like he's also an eidolon or whatever they decide to call the summons in this game, where you're like a half human, half summonable monster. That part sounds really rad. The thing, and I've said this multiple times, is I do not like the UI. The UI is like from a fighting game. I think the game looks beautiful. I think it looks fun. But that UI, I hate those big mobile style. They cover the whole screen with your health bar. They're very, very noticeable greens and reds. That stuff to me, it just looks bad. Like, I don't know what they decided or why they decided to do that. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. But, hopefully this is still temporary. The game's a year away. if it's not, it's one of those things. I'm sure I'll still enjoy the game and play it, but I don't get it because it totally reminds me of like a fighting game UI. Like I played Killer Instinct yesterday to get an achievement. That is how their UI looks.
Nice.
And it is, but you know what I mean? Like, doesn't it remind you of like a fighting game?
It
like
does.
Those big bars?
It does. And like I said, I mean, with the Devil May Cry, like that's the style in Devil May Cry. Like you see those brightly colored bars. I honestly, like, I feel like they're trying to reinvent what Final Fantasy is with this game. And it could be amazing and it could be horrible. I know a lot of the team is related to the Final Fantasy 14 team. So
14 team. Yoshi P is the director of that, and he's also, I believe, directing this. I don't know the whole 16 team, but I've heard enough people talk about it that sounds like they are coming. They're all kind of like experts from different areas coming together to make this. So, like I said, I'm excited for it.
It could be great. It could be great.
Yeah. It could be great. Who knows? I don't believe it's coming out summer 2023. I wouldn't be surprised if we're closer to fall. If you remember, Final Fantasy 15 got pushed back 3 times in its release year.
It took like what 10 years for that game to actually come out.
Yeah, but in the year that they gave it, it was 3 different. It was like September, I think it was like February to September, September to November. So I think summer 2023 is ambitious. I do not think we will see it summer. I think that's a fall game if it comes out next year at all. Overall, I loved the showcase.
Yeah.
What was your favorite trailer or announcement, do you think? Because that is a hard thing for me, but that's the thing I'm the most interested in.
Really, like
what you thought.
Callisto Protocol was probably one of my favorites. Final Fantasy 16, really cool. They didn't really like show a lot that wasn't in. I mean, they didn't. The trailer felt the same as the trailer they released before.
It was very cinematic, very limited gameplay.
So the
same
hype,
as the first one.
My hype level was there, but it also was not like exploding by any means. But Callisto Protocol, I think, is probably one of the best games that I'm really looking forward to from that conference.
I think for me, Resident Evil 4 Remake is what sold that show from being just a state of play to like an E3 level showcase. That was one of my favorite games on GameCube. I still remember getting it right around when it launched, playing through the entire thing, the first survival horror game I really loved. I believe the remake will be incredible. I can't wait to see more of it, and I don't think anyone expected it to be there. So I'm pretty stoked. Like you, Callisto Protocol was a game I didn't actually think much about, but it looks really good. And Final Fantasy 16, I did like a lot about that trailer. I've watched that trailer like 4 times since. That's always the sign of a good trailer. That's the trailer I've watched the most.
Do you
but
think
there's
Can I ask you a question about Final Fantasy real quick before we move on? Do you think that we're going to the biggest boon to Final Fantasy 15 was the fact that it was an incomplete game when they pushed it out? Do you think that we're going to get a complete experience? Because I don't want to deal with like the add-ons and expansions like the last time. Like I want a full game from start to finish. Do you think we're going to get that?
It's harder to know. I'm almost positive it's going to be a lot more complete than 15. But the reason why we know 15 wasn't complete is because of how troubled its development cycle was, that it was so apparent to everyone, right? They showed it off 10 years before it launched.
Yeah.
It was a totally different game. Final Fantasy versus 13. They renamed it. You heard about all the directors leaving. So if Final Fantasy 16 has like a mass exodus of people leaving it, like in the next 2 months, I won't be as confident. But if it stays like very similar to like the group it has now, I think it's finished. I mean, they've said it's already playable the whole way through, and they're polishing it up. So I don't know, man. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping it's fun. I hope it has a killer story. I have no reason to doubt it will at least be a 7-point or 8-point level game. I think it could be a 9 or a 10. But I don't know, man. It's a really interesting one. Next year is going to be insane. Not today, but after the Xbox Bethesda showcase, when we get a chance to do like a recap of that, we need to just discuss 2023 because it is like wild.
Huge, yeah.
We are running really low on time, but I still want to do like a Dream 3. Before we get to that, I want to talk about these 2 things real quick. Remember that Prince of Persia game that was announced by Ubisoft, the remake of this?
Delisted, right? I was reading.
It was delisted, but then they announced that it wasn't canceled. It is still just pushed back. What the heck happened to that game, man? Like, we don't have to talk about long, but that is just such a crazy one. They're about to merge it
with Skull and Bones, so it's going to be Skulls of Persia.
Dude, that game was supposed to come out March of I think 2020 or 2021, whatever the case was. It was a while ago, and it was like it just disappeared off face of the earth. Because if you remember, it looked horrible. It looked like it was like a PS3 game.
This is like something Ubisoft's become notorious for, though. Like, look at Skull and Bones was the Beyond Good and Evil sequel. Prince of Persia, like they're known for just showing or talking about games and just having them disappear for years.
Man, how have the great fallen? Ubisoft was a company about 3 years ago. We were talking about how much we loved, and now I feel like it's a company that has not had good press, and it sounds like they're going to be selling soon. You know what I mean? Like they've had nothing big and fun for a while. The other thing is the rumor leaks and ships leaks have started to appear. The GoldenEye 007 remaster, the achievements went up today, so people spotted them online. If it does come out, and the rumor is it's going to be announced on Sunday at the Xbox Bethesda showcase, are you going to play it?
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably going to be Game Pass.
I'll play it, but I don't see it recapturing the magic of the Nintendo 64 one, just because there's a different feeling between playing GoldenEye in a room with your buddies versus playing it online, and I don't think they're going to be able to recapture that nostalgia.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the same as that, but I am very excited to play it. You know, I think it's going to be incredibly fun. One last news story before we get to like our kind of predictions, and we'll try to do some quick ones. Xbox is holding a second summer showcase 2 days after the big one on Sunday. It's not going to be like the first one where it's all new stuff. It sounds like it's the deep dives. If you remember, they always kind of do like a weird deep dive into other stuff.
That's great too. Like I always appreciated that.
No, I think it's neat. I'm glad they've also set expectations by being like, hey, here's what we're doing. We're showing you guys stuff on Sunday. We're now going to go for another 90 minutes and do interviews with devs. Because the worst thing for me is when they fill that showcase with interviews with devs or talk about Gears 5 Hive Busters for 30 minutes, and you're like, oh, that's a third of the show.
Hive Busters.
What's up?
That was
literally what they did. They did that. I don't know if you remember that. That was like the worst part of the Xbox showcase.
Xavier, what's his name? Like hiding underneath the stage playing Xbox, like beneath.
It just was so deflating to like watch that, and like the Gears 5 trailer was cool, and then it's like, oh, now we have to watch like 20 more minutes of this and hear them talk about it. And we have limited time. You know what I mean? So the idea that we got the 90-minute showcase on Sunday and then another 90 minutes for people who want to like learn more about probably the games that are already out and the games that are about to come out. The other real quick piece of news we should discuss before we do some predictions is Jeff Keighley went out there and said that a lot of the trailers on Thursday for the Summer Game Showcase are not going to be new. He wanted to set expectations. So while I'm sure there's still going to be some new games announced, he's saying don't expect Game Awards levels of new stuff, which he normally has about 12 to 14 games of varying quality. Last year, he had Elden Ring to close out the show, just to give you an example, and that was like the first trailer of it. So yeah, it's definitely, you know, putting that expectation in check is a good thing, I think, because, you know, we had Elden Ring, Dovahkiin, like a bunch of fun trailers last year. And if we're not supposed to expect new stuff, I think it's good to get ahead. What do you think, before we do a couple, probably 2-3 predictions at most, what do you think that these showcases are going to be like? The Summer Games Fest on Thursday and the Xbox Bethesda showcase on Sunday.
Okay, so the Summer Gaming Showcase, I think it's going to be the one last year was cool. It was, I know that was your favorite, but
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, to me it was just kind of like, oh, what, I guess it just doesn't have the same like
magic
feeling, that same magic you get from like an E3 showcase. But you know, I think we'll get some trailers from stuff that, you know, like you said, is already coming out. I'm predicting we'll get at least like 2 or 3, you know, never before seen type things, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to blow us away.
Okay.
You know,
3 rapid fire predictions, okay? Because we're way over what we wanted to do, but this is our last show we're going to do before Bethesda and Summer Games Fest. I'll kick it off. I think God of War is going to be delayed at the Summer Games Fest.
Dang,
I think
really?
We are. I mean, I'm not going to say this as my prediction, but they're either delaying it there or they're dating it there.
Because that's
one or the other is
Sony,
happening.
That's a Sony property, so usually Sony has their own shows for things like that.
But they're part of the partners. I don't know if you saw the partner list this year, but everybody besides Nintendo is there. And there were a bunch of other ones where if like you looked carefully, you could be like, oh, this is probably going to be announced or talked about here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think God of War is either going to get dated there or delayed there. I'm going to say delayed because it has been so quiet that I will be amazed if they have that come out this year. A lot of people think it will. I'm not sure. I'm still skeptical.
Okay, I think we're gonna get a trailer for a new Spyro game.
Okay, is it going to be at Summer Games Fest or should we
I think
just
it's
stick with
gonna
Summer
be-
Games Fest first?
Oh, Summer
Or
Games
Bethesda.
Fest. Okay, sorry.
No, it's
I-
either. We could do either.
Oh.
We could do both together. Do you want to do Xbox Bethesda and Summer Games Fest
Sure,
and just shoot
let's
some
do
predictions?
that. Yeah, because
That's our E3 this year.
All right, yeah, I'm feeling we're gonna get a new Spyro because it's been rumored for like 2 years now. People keep talking about it, but it never like materializes. So I think we're gonna get a new Spyro game.
Where will it be at though?
think
Xbox
it's-
or Summer?
Well, I want to say Xbox, but when does the deal actually finalize?
Next
with
year.
Xbox? This year.
I don't think it's this year. I think it's next year. I could be
Okay.
wrong. But,
I think it's gonna be, if it shows up anywhere, it'll be at the Xbox one.
Okay. I mean, that's totally possible. They do third-party stuff. Yeah, I believe it was early this year they bought it. Yeah, I think that Xbox is going to have a very strong showcase. Is going to be a really strange prediction. Just follow me though. A strong showcase, but almost no games coming this year. No big AAA titles will be coming from Xbox this year.
You think not even a Forza?
Maybe a Forza. I by AAA I mean no Fable, no Perfect Dark, no State of K3, no I don't think Halo Infinite single player campaign, no Gears. That's what I mean. Like none of their
Dang.
big marquees. No Avowed, no, whatever. Obviously no
Really?
Starfield. I have a feeling this is going to be a horrible year for Xbox, and next year is going to be literally insane. So I think we're going to see a lot of 2023 titles at this Xbox Bethesda showcase.
All right. I see where you're at. All right. So next one here, I am, and this is just me sitting here talking here, but I think that we are going to get a sequel to the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot game.
Oh, the RPG?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Dragon Ball Super.
Okay. I mean, what didn't they go over like every single story arc? Wasn't that game very
in
like
Dragon Ball Z they did, but there's still Dragon Ball Super. Like they haven't explored that whole world yet, and people really like the Kakarot game. So I feel like we could get something in the Dragon Ball Super universe.
Yeah, I mean, where would that show up? Summer Games Fest, I
Summer
assume?
Games Fest, yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess that's a Summer Games Fest level of announcement. Did you like that? I still don't know. I joke about it a lot, but I still don't know if you liked that first game, actually.
I did, but not enough to spend as much time in that world as it took me to play it.
Did you finish it or no?
No, I got to the Cell Saga.
How many sagas are there? Are there more than that?
I want to say there's like, well, you have Cell, and then you have Boo, and then you have, I think that's it. I just have Boo, and then I think there's like Brawly add-on. I think there's like 3 or 4 more that I haven't done yet.
And how many did you do?
I did the Saiyans, I did Frieza, I did the androids, Trunks, I did so I did 5.
Do they open up new places, or does it just take place in one open world? Sorry,
No,
we're spinning these predictions,
No,
talking
you're
about
fine.
an
Like,
old
they,
game. But
they open up new places, and it's cool because you get to like fly back and forth to these places, and there's
okay.
you can interact with characters. There's side quests on that. I love the game, but like I said, I just don't know if I love how much time it takes to do it.
Okay. I was just curious. If it ever drops to like sub $20 or comes to Game Pass, I'm going to try it out. But as somebody who doesn't even care about Dragon Ball, it's a hard sell for me to be like, I don't want to spend any more money than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. It will be my prediction then now. And this is hard because to be honest with you, this year has been like the weirdest year.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing coming out. It's the beginning was crazy. It seemed like the year was just going to be fire the entire year, and now it's not. I have a feeling that at the Xbox Bethesda showcase, they are going to announce a new studio purchase But because of the Activision Blizzard buyout, it's going to be someone real small. And again, this is me spitballing. Who would they buy that's really small? I'm trying to think who would be a good purchase. The Pokemon Game Company. No, I don't even know. Let me see if they've got anybody. I actually really don't even know who there is left to purchase anymore. I just have a feeling they're going to announce another studio acquisition. Because if you remember at the beginning of this year, after the Xbox buyout of Activision and the Sony buyout of Bungie, there was all the talks about all of these companies not being done with acquisitions. Yeah. So I don't know who. I have a feeling they're going to announce a buyout. That's not a super exciting one. So maybe we'll go for one or two more predictions and I'll come up with something more exciting to end with. Go ahead. What do you got?
I'm gonna cheat. I got one that's serious and one that's not, but could also be serious. All right, my serious one here is I think that we're going to get more. I think we're going to get an update on Elder Scrolls 6.
What are they going to update though? That's the same team that's working on Starfield that hasn't finished their game and just got delayed out of this year. What are they going to say?
It's going to be
still coming.
There's going to be a pure hype moment just to get people excited. It's going to be pure hype.
It's hard for me to get hyped anymore on games that are like a trillion years away.
Yeah, but they're going to do it because people want it.
Okay, right. So this is wait, let me do another and then you can do another and then we'll close out with our finals. Okay. So Summer Games Fest or Summer Games Showcase, whatever you want to call it, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 trailer.
Dang. Boom. All right. I see. Okay. My last one here, this is one that's not serious but could also be serious. Everyone's been talking about how Microsoft turned down the making of a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Right? My prediction here is they did not turn it down, and it's not a Star Wars game, but they're going to remake a game that was previously published by Lucasfilms, or Lucas Interactive. Ready? A remake of Armed and Dangerous. Boom.
Really?
Mic drop moment.
Really? I love that. By the way, you are confused. It was Marvel that they said they didn't want to make a game for.
I thought it was Star Wars. All right, never mind.
But they are making a Lucasfilms game already, the Indiana Jones game from Machine Games. The guys who do Wolfenstein. Mm-hmm. But that would be awesome, dude. Armed and Dangerous would be hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm going to win.
Such a fun game.
I'm going to end with the real mic drop moment.
Okay.
You hear dun, 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 dun. You see a Millennium Falcon speeding around a snowy landscape while AT-ATs are busting through. You see a guy jetpacking over a desert landscape. You see him going in the sewers and on the back of the train. Uh-oh, guys, it's Dash Rendar.
Whoa.
Shadows of the Empire remake.
Dang.
I'm going to predict that every year till that game comes out. I so hope in my lifetime they do a remake of Shadows of the Empire.
Like, I loved that game so much. Like, that was, as a kid, like, I wanted Nintendo 64 just to play this game.
Dude, it was the best. Obviously, looking back, it's not the best. But at the time, it was the best. And it was like just fun because it had all those things old games used to have. Like there was a level where you'd race your hover bike, through Mos Eisley. There was a level where, it just had so much variety. Yeah. Like things that games don't really do anymore for a lot of reasons because they can't do them well. But still, like that was fun back then, right? Like you do different things per area.
For sure, yeah.
Anyways, no matter what happens, because I have no clue, I'm excited to see the Xbox Bethesda showcase as well as Summer Games Fest. And next week, we're going to bring back all of that news to go over this juicy gossip in your ears. Do you have anything else to add to these boys?
No, I think that's it. Boom.
Okie doke.